X. It marks the spot. It solves the equation. It basically cancels the mistake.
Yeah.
But outside of math class and, I don't know, pirate maps,
Yeah.
the letter X is kind of a graveyard in the English language.
Well, absolutely. It's totally abandoned.
Right. I mean, I want you to think about it for a second. Aside from words like xylophone or X-ray, when was the last time you actually used a word starting with letter X? For most of us, our relationship with it ended in high school algebra.
Yeah, where it was just this deeply frustrating, highly mysterious variable.
Exactly. You were always trying to solve for X, figure out what X meant, and then you just closed the textbook and left it behind forever.
It has a very clinical reputation, I think. We use it as a placeholder for the unknown, like literally Planet X or Brand X.
Yeah.
It feels mathematical, almost cold. It's the letter we use when we don't quite have the real answer yet.
Well, today, our mission for this deep dive is to completely rescue the letter X from the chalkboard. We are digging up this graveyard because based on the source material we're looking at today, X is actually the ultimate hidden gem of the dictionary.
It really is.
We've pulled together this collection of 15 exceptional, hyper-specific words starting with X. And they are capable of delivering just like an incredible amount of expression. We're talking about words for highly specific situations that you experience all the time, and you probably had zero idea there was a dedicated term for them.
Which is where I think we should probably address the elephant in the room. Because, if you're listening to this, you might be wondering, why should I care about obscure vocabulary?
Right, like, what's the point?
Exactly. If I use a bizarre, eccentric word that nobody else knows, doesn't that just alienate people? Doesn't hyper-specific language kind of defeat the purpose of communication if I have to stop and define it every single time?
I'm so glad you brought that up because, honestly, that's my exact instinct. If I drop a 5-syllable X word at a dinner party, I'm just going to sound completely pretentious, right? Like, why do I need a brand new lexicon?
Because precision in language fundamentally changes how you perceive the world. There's this concept in linguistics, it's often linked to the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, that suggests the language you speak actively shapes your cognition.
Wait, so the words I know actually change how I think?
Exactly. When you acquire a highly specific word for a fleeting feeling or a nuanced action or a particular type of person, your brain suddenly has a bucket to put that experience into.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you stop just feeling this vague blur of emotion and start noticing that distinct phenomenon everywhere. It literally brings your actual lived environment into sharper focus.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
It's not about showing off at a party. It's about giving our brains a higher resolution to process reality.
Exactly.
So let's test that theory. Where do we even start with a letter that is famous for representing the unknown?
Well, we start exactly there, with the unknown. If you look at how the English language uses X, a massive portion of it comes from the ancient Greek root xeno. That's X-E-N-O.
Okay, xeno.
Right. And xeno translates loosely to stranger or foreigner or guest. It is the linguistic building block for how we handle everything that sits outside our own familiar bubble.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because we usually hear it in a negative context, right? Like xenophobia, the fear of outsiders. But the words we're looking at today flip that completely on its head.
They really do.
Take the words xenodochial. That's Xenodochial. Xenodochial. It means being remarkably friendly to strangers.
Such a great word.
It is. Think about the neighborhood golden retriever. You know the exact dog I'm talking about. The one who sits at the front gate and enthusiastically, desperately greets absolutely every single person who walks past.
Oh, yeah. Like everyone is their best friend.
Exactly. As if the mail carrier and the jogger are its long-lost buddies. That dog is famously xenodochial.
I love that. It's a wonderful concept because it frames the unknown not as a threat, but as an opportunity for connection. And in ancient Greece, that wasn't just a nice personality trait. It was a cultural mandate.
Right.
Which brings us to the word xenial. Xenial relates directly to the sacred duty of hospitality. It describes the incredibly warm, almost reverent relationship between a host and a guest.
Oh, I know people like this. If you have a friend who is the ultimate host, the one who remembers, you prefer the firm pillows, and somehow keeps a constantly refilled glass of cider in your hand without you ever having to ask for it.
Yes.
That is a truly xenial friend. They elevate just like having people over to an absolute art form.
They do. And the Greeks took this so seriously, they believed Zeus himself was the protector of guests. To be xenial was to be righteous. But human psychology is fascinating because we never just stop at welcoming.
And no, we always push it too far.
Exactly. We always push things to extremes. If xenial is a healthy welcoming of the foreign, Xenomania is the complete obsession with it. It's an intense fondness for foreign customs or people to the point of basically adopting them as your entire personality.
Oh, man. We all know the xenomania guy. He goes on a 2-week vacation to Tokyo, right? And his xenomania kicks in so hard that he comes back home and immediately changes his entire life.
Oh yeah, suddenly he's an expert.
He's tracking his daily schedule on Japan Standard Time. He's suddenly brewing ceremonial matcha every morning, and he won't stop complaining to you about the inefficiency of the local train infrastructure compared to the Shinkansen.
It's total identity replacement. It happens when someone feels a lack of identity in their native culture, so they latch onto a foreign one because the sheer novelty feels like depth.
That makes so much sense.
But if we want to talk about true, unexplainable anomalies regarding foreign cultures, we have to talk about xenoglossy.
Okay, what is that?
This is the alleged spontaneous ability to speak or write a language that you have never actually learned.
This is the wildest concept from the source material. There are these bizarre, documented anecdotes of people waking up from trauma or surgery and just doing this.
It's crazy.
Imagine a guy waking up from intense dental surgery. You know how people are completely loopy coming out of anesthesia, like crying over nothing?
Yeah, completely out of it.
Well, imagine this guy wakes up and starts babbling in what turns out to be fluent medieval French, just entirely out of nowhere, no high school classes, no Rosetta Stone, just pure xenoglossy.
Neurologically, it's highly contested, of course. It's often attributed to cryptomnesia, where the brain recalls a memory of a language heard long ago but completely forgets how it learned it.
Oh, sure.
But the fact that we have a specific word for speaking an alien tongue shows how deeply fascinated we are by the boundaries of our own minds. And that boundary extends to how we govern ourselves, too.
Right.
If we scale up from the individual to society, we get xenocracy, a government run entirely by strangers or foreigners.
It sounds like the plot of a sci-fi blockbuster, honestly. An alien xenocracy taking over Earth, humanity suddenly being ruled by an administration operating out of a massive floating citadel in the sky.
Right. It's terrifying because it represents the ultimate loss of autonomy. A xenocracy implies that the people making the rules have zero shared context with the people living under them.
Yeah, that's dark. But I actually want to pivot back to a micro level for a second, because there is a scientific word in this stranger category that acts as an incredible metaphor for human dynamics.
Oh, which one?
The word is xenocryst. In geology, a xenocryst is a crystal that is completely foreign to the igneous rock in which it is embedded.
I love this one.
It's so good. It's like a diamond trapped inside a dull chunk of basalt. The volcano erupts, the magma scoops up this beautiful foreign crystal, and it cools with this sparkling anomaly trapped inside.
Yeah.
And the metaphorical application from the source is just brilliant.
Yeah.
Imagine you are stuck in the most cynical, draining, gray corporate meeting of your life.
We've all been there.
Everyone is miserable. The budget is slashed. And then there is that one bright, bubbly, aggressively optimistic person sitting at the end of the table taking color-coded notes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
They are a shiny xenocryst embedded in a dull piece of volcanic rock.
It's a perfect linguistic tool because calling them an optimist doesn't really capture the friction of the environment, you know?
Exactly.
Calling them a xenocryst implies they fundamentally do not belong in that rock. But there they are anyway, providing this stark contrast.
You know, hearing all these laid out xenodokial, xenomania, xenocracy, it really makes me rethink my assumption about human nature.
How so?
Well, are we actually afraid of the unknown, or do we crave it? Because if you just look at the news, you'd think humans are biologically hardwired to reject outsiders. But our language implies we are desperate to welcome the strange.
That's very true.
We have words praising xenial hosts, diagnosing xenomania, highlighting beautiful xenocrysts.
That is the beautiful dualism of human psychology, kind of perfectly preserved in amber by our vocabulary. The root xeno is totally neutral. The emotion entirely depends on the suffix we attach to it.
Right.
It proves that we are in a constant state of tension. We are captivated by what we don't understand, but we are fiercely protective of our own boundaries. The sheer volume of X words dedicated to handling strangers proves that navigating the other is arguably the core human experience.
That is profound. And I love how language doesn't just map our social anxieties, it maps our physical world too.
Yeah.
Let's transition out of our own human relationships and look at how X helps us categorize the environment around us.
Okay, let's do it.
We mentioned the volcano with the xenocryst. How does X describe the raw elements of nature?
It does it by using two major Greek prefixes. There's xero, meaning dry, and xylo, meaning wood. Let's start with the dry side. The word is xeric, X-E-R-I-C. It means an environment that is extremely dry, providing almost no moisture.
So ecologically, we are talking about desert landscapes. Cacti, succulents, shrubs that have evolved to absolutely thrive in a xeric climate.
Exactly.
They don't just survive the drought, they require it.
But I think the psychological jump here is what's really interesting. The source material points out that you can use xeric to describe a human personality.
Yes.
If you have a brother whose sense of humor is incredibly parched, just deadpan, emotionless, sarcastic delivery, you can say his humor is completely xeric.
It's a fascinating linguistic leap, right?
Yeah.
We equate emotional warmth with fluidity and moisture.
Yeah.
Like someone gushes with praise or their heart melts.
Right.
So a lack of emotion or a sarcastic detachment becomes biologically dry. Calling someone's humor xeric elevates the insult. It implies their personality is a literal desert.
That's so good.
But if we move from the xeric desert to the forest, we hit that second prefix, xylo. And here we find an entire microeconomy of X words dedicated to the life cycle of wood. Let's look at how humans interact with this resource, starting with the xylopolist. The xylopolist. It sounds like someone who plays a xylophone, but it's actually a wood seller, a lumber dealer.
Yeah, not quite as musical.
No. But in today's world of massive, soulless, big box hardware chains, the word feels wonderfully artisanal. You aren't just going to aisle 14 for 2x4s. You are intentionally seeking out an independent xylopolist to source perfectly milled, fragrant cedar planks for your backyard patio project.
It brings a sense of craft back to the transaction, doesn't it? But of course, nature operates in cycles. Every resource we claim, nature eventually tries to reclaim.
True.
The natural enemy of the xylopolist, and honestly the homeowner, is the xylophagus.
Xylophagus. It means feeding on or boring into wood. Phagus meaning to eat.
Exactly.
If you've got an old wooden shed in your backyard, you know the one. It's been leaning slightly to left since 2012. Paint is peeling.
I know it well.
And over the weekend, it finally just succumbed to gravity and collapsed into dust. That wasn't just old age. That was decades of invisible structural damage caused by a massive colony of Xylophagus beetles. They are the ultimate silent wood destroyers.
They literally eat the structures we build. But the forest isn't just about lumber and decay. It also provides sustenance in ways we rarely think about, which introduces the word xylitol.
Oh, I've actually seen this one. Xylitol is in the baking aisle at the grocery store.
Exactly. It is a natural sugar alcohol sweetener, and the xylo prefix is there because it is traditionally derived from the bark of birch trees.
Oh, I had no idea it came from trees.
Yeah. It has become incredibly popular because it mimics the taste, the look, and the texture of real sugar. But it is metabolized completely differently, so it carries just a fraction of the calories.
It is genuinely a tiny Shakespearean circle of life happening entirely within the letter X.
How so?
Well, think about it. The forest gives us this sweet xylitol from the birch bark. The xylopolist sells us the beautiful cedar planks to build our homes. And eventually, the Xylophagus beetles come along to eat the wood and return it all back to the earth.
Wow.
We basically just summed up ecology using a letter we usually completely ignore.
It really demonstrates how deeply our ancestors paid attention to their resources. They needed specific words for the people who sold the wood, the insects that destroyed the wood, and the medicine or sap that came from the wood.
Okay, so we've explored how X categorizes our social boundaries and our natural resources. But what about aesthetics?
Aesthetics.
Yeah, how does this hidden corner of the dictionary describe the way things actually look or the way we physically interact with the world?
Oh, this is where we see the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis in full effect. What's fascinating here is that having a specific word for a visual detail forces you to truly look at it. Let's contrast two words that both technically mean yellow, but carry vastly different emotional weights. The root here is xantho. First, we have xanthic. This means yellowish or tending toward a yellow color, but it carries a nostalgic, warm, almost revered connotation.
When I hear xanthic, I think of the pages of old library books. You know that specific soft, romantic tint the paper gets after 80 years?
Yes, that exact color.
It's not just yellowing, which sounds like it's rotting or something. It is a beautiful xanthic hue. It shows its age through soft shades of amber and gold. It feels like a cozy, quiet afternoon.
It elevates the concept of aging into something dignified. But then we take that exact same root color, yellow, and we apply it to human anatomy, giving us the word xanthodontus.
Having yellow teeth.
Yeah.
And the mental image this word conjures is so aggressively uncozy.
Very uncozy.
Imagine a historical pirate captain, a fierce, completely unhinged scoundrel barking orders from the helm, and he turns and flashes this terrifying xanthodontus smile that clearly has not intercepted a toothbrush since he left port a decade ago.
It's such a vivid image. Why do we need a word like xanthodontus when we could just say he had yellow teeth? Because xanthodontus sounds like a medical condition.
Right, it sounds terminal almost.
It sounds inherent to his character. It turns a lack of hygiene into a defining, monstrous physical trait. It is a brilliant tool for a writer to establish immediate, visceral disgust.
It totally works. Makes my skin crawl just a little bit, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
Let's move from visuals to physical actions. What does X give us for human behavior?
It gives us a word for a very specific ancient craft, zesturgy. That's Xesturgy. This is the process of polishing, specifically the art of polishing stones or gems.
I love the psychology behind this one. In a chaotic modern world where we control almost nothing, our emails, the news, the traffic, there is a deeply meditative, grounding quality to zesturgy.
Absolutely.
It is taking a rough, jagged river rock and spending hours quietly buffing its edges until it absolutely gleams. It's humanity imposing order and beauty onto the rough edges of nature.
It is the physical manifestation of patience. And historically, that act of polishing stone wasn't just for pocket gems. It was the foundation of entire civilizations. The meticulous polishing of marble gave us our next word, ext. X-Y-S-T.
Exist is a specific architectural feature from antiquity. It's a long, open, or sometimes covered stone walkway. The ancient Greeks built these specifically for athletic exercises during the winter or in bad weather.
Imagine the sheer scale of it.
Right. You are taking a stroll through a vast, polished stone xist, feeling the cool shade cast by massive, towering classical columns, watching athletes train. It's not just a hallway. The word xist instantly transports you to a specific era of history and a specific philosophy of body and mind.
Architecture shapes human behavior. By giving that space a name, the Greeks elevated the act of walking and exercising from a chore into a civic institution.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Speaking of exercising, if you speak, the word is xertz. X-E-R-T-Z.
It is easily the most visceral word we have discussed today.
Xertz means to gulp down a beverage quickly and greedily. And we have all done this.
Oh, definitely.
Imagine it's the middle of July. You have just spent 3 unbroken hours mowing the lawn. The heat radiating off the asphalt is visible. The sun is blistering.
I'm sweating just thinking about it.
You finally cut the engine on the mower, drag yourself into the air-conditioned kitchen, fill a giant glass with ice water, and you xertz it. You don't sip it, you don't casually drink it, you xertz it.
And this brings us full circle to your question at the very beginning of our deep dive. Why do we need these words? Why not just say, he drank the water fast?
Right. Why not keep it simple?
Because saying he drank fast conveys the speed, but it completely fails to capture the desperation. It misses the greed. It misses the heat of the summer day.
It really does.
The word xertz encapsulates that animalistic, survival-driven gulping sensation. It packs an entire physical and emotional experience into a single syllable.
It proves that we don't have to settle for boring, low-resolution language. So, for you listening, let's look at the philosophical journey we've just been on.
It's been quite a trip.
We started by exploring how our brains process strangers, realizing that we are just as likely to welcome them with xenial hospitality as we are to obsess over them with xenomania. We categorized the harsh xeric deserts and the wood-boring xylophagus beetles.
We did.
We appreciated the beautiful xanthic pages of an old book, recoiled from the xanthodontous smile of a pirate, and we finally cooled off by xertzing a massive glass of water. And we did all of it, using a letter we previously thought was just a placeholder.
It really changes your perspective.
X isn't empty. It is incredibly densely packed.
It is the ultimate tool for precision, which leaves you with something to genuinely consider as you go about your routine tomorrow. We just explored how the English language quietly absorbed hyper-specific words for incredibly niche situations, like a dedicated word for polishing stones, or a word for a bubbly optimist trapped in a cynical room. It makes you wonder, what other highly precise emotions or actions are you experiencing every single day that you don't have a word for yet?
Yes. Like the specific frustration of watching a traffic light turn red right before you get to the intersection.
Oh, I hate that.
Or the unique relief of finally closing your laptop at 5 p.m. on a Friday. The way you stare into the fridge hoping new food has materialized since you checked 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. We write off the letter X because it seems too strange, too weird to be useful. But its strangeness is its power. I challenge you to look closely at those fleeting, highly specific moments in your own life, because they might secretly deserve an X word of their very own. And when you finally find the right word for the feeling, X isn't the unknown variable anymore. It's the exact answer.